Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Knits and Burls podcast. My name is Annie and I am coming to you from Katy, Texas, where I live with my husband and our 3 kiddos. This is a podcast all about knitting and crafting. If it's your first time, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is January 2nd and it is a properly cold winter day here in Houston, so I am wearing one of my recently finished objects, the WOODFORDS cardigan by Elizabeth Doherty. I finished this, I think on the 2nd episode, and it is knit out of bare naked wools in their Confection Sport blend, I believe, in the colorway NOUGAT. This is a very warm cardigan, so I have to kind of save it for the actual cold wintry days, but I'm so thankful to be able to wear it today, and I think it's going to be a great staple in my wardrobe to have. The only thing that I'm not quite sure that I love is the sleeve length. I'm pretty sure I knit it to pattern, but I guess it's kind of like 3/4 length sleeves, and I haven't decided yet if I love it. I kind of like the look of it. My Birkin sweater by Caitlin Hunter that I have, the sleeves lay like this, but since it is such a warm cardigan that I have to save for cold days, I kind of want the sleeves to go all the way down. So I think I'll wear it a few more times and then I'll be able to actually make a decision. But I'm just loving wearing it today. It is so cozy, and I really love the silhouette of it and all the details of this pattern. It's a wonderful fit. It was a really interesting construction, and it's been on my list for a long time to knit, and I finally dove in and figured it out, and it was so much fun. It has these beautiful braids on the shoulders and the skirt. Hopefully you can see this, but I just really like the silhouette, and I think she did an amazing job designing this. So that is what I am wearing today. So I have no finished objects this week. However, I do have quite a few whips that I would love to show. This year I was able to get the Knotty Pine Fiber Co. Advent Calendar, and I had plans to knit a blanket with it, and I did just that. I'm still working away on it. I'm a little bit behind. So let's get into the pattern. So I chose the Cozy Memories the Cozy Comfort Throw by Molly Klatt of A Homespun House, and she designed this last year with her advent calendar. So it's designed to use 24 mini skeins of fingering weight held double with a skein of fingering weight contrast yarn. So that's what I did. This is what I have so far. I have 3.5 days left until I am done with the advent calendar. However, I am going to add more. So this is what I have. This starts at day 1 and then it goes all the way up here. So I really love it. I was able to keep up with 20 grams a day for over 2 weeks, and then I actually got an ear infection and my son had strep throat at the same time, so our household was just a little bit under the weather, and yeah, my knitting just took a hit for that. So I'm still catching up, but I have loved this. I am pairing this with a contrast color from Back Porch Fiber Co. that I had Laura specially dye for me for this blanket. So it's this really beautiful warm gray taupe brown, and it has paired so well with this blanket. So I had her dye me up 7 skeins of this, and with each skein it is a little bit thinner, so I'm able to get 6 days with 1 skein of this. So 120 grams of the Knotty Pine Fiber Co. I can pair with 100 grams of this. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, so it's 16 rows of knitting per 20 grams is what I have found with my gauge. I'm following the pattern exactly. So you just do a long tail cast on, which I found a really helpful hint from Maria of the Woolen Forest Knits podcast. She mentioned that if you have a long tail cast on, instead of guesstimating how many or how long your tail needs to be, especially whenever you have a project like this where the amount of stitches that you're casting on is really large, what she does is if she has an extra skein of yarn, she will use the extra skein as her tail. So I'll link the tutorial that I found on YouTube to figure this out, because I was kind of like, how do you do that? But I was able to find a tutorial that explained it really well. And I didn't have 2 skeins of, you know, day 1. So what I did was I pulled from the outside of the cake and the inside of the cake. And then I used that to cast on. So, like I said, I only have 3.5 days left until this is complete. And it's so big. However, I would like more length. So I already had in my stash a mini skein bundle that I got from Kayla of A Knotty Pine Fiber Co. I think she called it her fall sock bundle, maybe something like that. And I believe it was 5 skeins of minis. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add those. And then I also had a few full skeins from her collection. So I'm taking 20 grams off from those full skeins and I'm gonna add them on. So I think I'll be able to add maybe another 12 more colors or something like that. And then I'm gonna do the border and it'll be done, and I'm so excited. My husband and I right now, we are kind of rearranging our house. We're moving his office upstairs. We have a game room slash playroom slash guest room, but my kids are really young and so they never come upstairs to be alone, and they always just play downstairs because that's primarily where I'm at. So this room really wasn't being used very well, and my husband is getting his master's degree right now online, and so it's a lot of office hours at home. So we're kind of rearranging the house a bit, and we're taking his office out of our master and moving it upstairs, and then we're gonna have this empty space in our master bedroom that we're going to convert to kind of a cozy coffee reading nook, and I am so excited. And this blanket is going to go on my chair, and I can't wait for it. So that's a huge motivation because we're getting the chairs in on Tuesday, and we just moved his desk and our bookshelves up to the game room this weekend. So now I feel like it's coming really quick, and I would love to have this blanket draped on my chair that I can, you know, cuddle up under and read books in our cozy space. So that has definitely brought back the motivation for me to finish this. I did want to show I got some new stitch markers this month. I will have to put her name here. It's a new to me maker, but she makes these really beautiful, I think they're called poly clay stitch markers. Hopefully you can see that. So she has the little house and this really pretty circle with knit stitches on it. And I got some other sets as well, so I'll be sure to show those off later. But they're really lightweight, which I love because I hate whenever stitch markers are too heavy and then they kind of pull on your knitting and stretch out your stitches. But I have not had the problem with these at all. And they match so well with this blanket. So this has been my primary knit, and honestly I'm really proud of myself for keeping up for so long. And by the time this is done, I mean, I cast on December 1st, and so it's January 2nd. I mean, I've knit almost an entire blanket in a month, which I think is pretty impressive. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself for keeping up with it to a certain degree, and just staying focused on it because it is such a huge project. Towards the tail end, just this last week really, I've been like, ooh, I would love to cast something on. but I really want this in the office, in our cozy space, so that's been a huge motivator for me. And I'm afraid if I put it down that it's just gonna linger for way too long. Plus the colors are absolutely stunning. I've already decided I'm definitely getting her Advent this year. She already said that she's gonna create an Advent again, and this is the one I'm choosing. So it is so much fun and so beautiful. I loved opening a new color every day. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And as much as I love working on it, I think I'm gonna really love having it done. So that is whip number 1, which took up really the majority of my time this last month. And then I also have another Advent project that I got. So this is the 24 Stripe Skein 2021 Advent from Freckled Whimsy. And it's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend, 4-ply fingering weight. My friend Laura got me this for my birthday / Christmas gift, and her and I are knitting them together. So I am knitting the Drea Renee Knits Everyday Socks, and it's a toe up construction. So I believe it's in the pattern, but I think it was called like a Turkish cast on or something like that. She has a video tutorial for this that I found so helpful. So you cast on at the toe, and I did a contrast mini for the toe, which actually came with my skeins. It's this really pretty heathered green. And then so with this skein of the Advent yarn, she actually didn't tell you which color to start with. I think everyone's was different where you could start, but you know, the order of the stripes were the same. Hopefully that makes sense. But there's 2 different purples that are really similar in here, and they have a pink right beforehand, so that's what I had to start with. And I didn't have the complete pink stripe, so I decided to cut it off and just start with the purple. And then my friend Laura, she also had pink and then purple, so we were like, oh perfect, let's start on the purple together. Well, there's another point in the pattern that has a pink and then a purple. So Laura's sock actually starts right here, pink, purple, and then mine had, you know, pink, purple, but then mine has yellow and hers has blue. So anyways, it was just kind of funny that we were, you know, trying so hard to match up, and it did not work out. But I kept up with those socks for the first couple weeks like I was able to do with the blanket, and then the blanket just, you know, it felt like a much larger time commitment if I fell behind on the blanket and not so much with the socks. So if I didn't get as much knitting time in the day, I really focused it primarily on the blanket, and as a result, I'm way behind on my socks. I only have 11 stripes done on the socks. But I'm nearing the part where I think I need to do the heel. I need to try it on, and so that's kind of slowed me down too, because I don't have any completed pair of toe-up socks. I did join in on the Curio sock knit along that Andrea MOWRY hosted this year, but I wasn't able to complete them in time. And I'm also kind of at the heel part on those, and so I need to just probably reference a couple videos and read through the notes again through the pattern, and then I can more confidently decide when to begin the heel. So yeah, I'm hoping to get those done as soon as possible. This is living in a really cute bag that my friend Laura made me a few years ago. Yeah, they're just a really fun. I love these for Christmas socks. So that's whip number 2. Sorry if you hear any banging in the background. My husband and the boys are working in the garage right now, and I know that they were taking apart a miter saw because my husband's miter saw broke yesterday. So I'm not quite sure what they are doing, but I can hear banging in the background, and I'm hoping that you do not, but we will see. So my third whip that really took, I don't know, the way back seat. I don't know if I really worked on it except for a couple rows. It's living in my Jenna Rose bag. This is one of my favorite bags. I know I've mentioned this before, but this is my like, oh, we're going somewhere, I'm gonna bring this bag because it's black and you can't ever see any dirt on it. So I love it. These are my oldest son's Christmas socks, which obviously he's not getting for Christmas, but that's okay. They're just two cute little socks that I'm knitting in Knit Picks Felici in the Under the Sea colorway, I believe. I'll put it here. And these are, I showed these off last time, I think. These are my 4-year-old socks, and I cast on 52 stitches for these and did a shadow wrap heel. And then for my 6-year-old, I cast on 56 stitches, and I'm also gonna try out the shadow wrap heel for him and see how those fit. So yeah, not really anything too exciting about these other than I need to get to working on them, because my boys wear hand knit socks anytime that they're clean. I think they have 3 or 4 pairs that fit them right now that they just cycle through, and they need another pair that fits them better because their feet have grown so much that you know, like the heel will be way below where their actual heel is because their feet are so long. So I'm excited to give them these and check out the fit, and then I really am wanting to cast them on another pair of socks soon, just because they wear them so much. I feel like they really deserve them. Yeah, so, and I actually, in my stash acquisitions, I got a couple skeins for their future socks that I'm excited to show off. But I think those are all my whips. Nothing, you know, it's been pretty mindless knitting. I have the garter stitch blanket, I have a pair of ribbed socks and a pair of stockinette socks. So I am kind of itching to cast something on that's just a little bit more engaging. But yeah, I need to just power through on that blanket so that it doesn't fall into the lean green whip pile, which I try hard not to let anything fall into, but yet it does. Let me show you some stash acquisitions that I got this past month. I have actually quite a few. So speaking of the boys' socks, I will show you the 2 skeins that I got this last month to knit them future socks. This is from a hand dyer called PNW Pearls Co. I'm pretty sure it stands for Pacific Northwest Pearls. And I will leave their Etsy shop below because I was so impressed with all of their self-striping yarn. So the first one that I got them is an 80/20, and it is in the colorway called Merry Krampus, I believe is how you call it. And it's this really cool kind of dark, moody Christmas colors. So this is what I want to make next year's Christmas socks in for the boys. And I'm thinking of pairing it with maybe like a red or black contrast, just so I can stretch this skein as far as possible. And maybe my daughter will like to wear socks by then, and then maybe I could knit her some with the scraps. And the second skein that I got from the same company, this one is called Monster Mash, and I thought it was so much fun. It's this really cool electric Halloween colors. How cool is that? I am so impressed with just the saturation of these colors and how the dyer was able to get them so bright. I think that's so impressive. So with this one, I want to pair it with a black mini skein. I think that would be really cool. And then I can hopefully stretch the skein, like I said. So I also got a few other yarns to try out this month. I've been really inspired by the knitting podcast, A Loop Through a Loop. She talks a lot about you know, knitting on a budget, and that's something that I want to experiment with. I'm really curious You know, I love like this yarn. I love that it's breed specific, it's non-superwash. It has a lot of character to it that you can't get in budget, you know, like acrylic yarn and stuff. But I kind of want to experiment with making a garment out of very budget yarn and seeing, do I gravitate to wearing that more on a daily basis because I'm less precious with it? Like this cardigan, this is like, my husband and I are going out, you know, and I don't have a kid on my hip and I don't have to worry about things spilling on it, or we're going to church. And yeah, it's I just hesitate to wear this on an everyday basis because it is such nice yarn that I don't want it ruined. So I'm curious to try a cardigan in a budget-friendly yarn that I commit less money to, and see, am I going to wear that more often because I'm not as nervous to ruin it. So that's kind of what my idea was behind this purchase. The woman from A Loop Through a Loop, she knit, it's called the Reluctant Homeschooler cardigan, designed by Caitlin Hunter, and I fell in love with hers. I loved the color. It's Patons Classic Wool Worsted, and this is in the Natural Mix colorway. So this one is 100% wool, so that's really interesting. I'm excited to try that out. But I got this on sale, and so the cardigan will cost less than $30. And I'm really curious to experiment with that. Do I reach for this more? Because I am not as committed to keeping it perfect because I haven't spent as much money on the yarn. So I'm going to experiment with that. This is what I'm really itching to cast on, just because I want to see, I have the expectation that I'm going to wear this more than something like this, because I really want this to last for years, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've put hours and hours and hours of work into this, and it's obviously more of a financial commitment to make something like this. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, saving it for keeping it nice. But I also need more staple pieces in my wardrobe that I can wear day to day. So that's my experiment with this yarn. I would love to cast this on ASAP. It's on size 8 needles, which I forgot to mention, the blanket is also on size 8 needles. And so I'm kind of used to that feeling in my hands of that gauge. And I think it would be a really good transition after this blanket. The woman behind A Loop Through a Loop, she said she knit hers really quick, I think only in like a week or two, which I was really impressed with. She also has 3 small kids, so her podcast just really resonates with me. So I really want to cast this on, and it's getting cold, and I just want to experiment with my idea of wearing my knits more on a daily basis if I'm less precious with them. So that's what this purchase is. I believe I got 6 skeins. So yeah, less than $30 for a hand knit cardigan. I feel like that is pretty good. So another purchase that I made this past month or two is I got 2 sweater quantities of Drops Air. My friend Laura and I, we are going to do like a little knit along together and use this yarn in a garment. This was also super affordable yarn. I want to say about $30 for the sweater. We went in together, and I will link the Etsy store below where I got this. It was kind of hard for us to find, but we found an Etsy store that did free shipping over a certain price point, and between our 2 orders, we reached that price point, and we were sending Christmas gifts to each other anyways. So we just held out sending out our gifts, and I sent her her yarn with her gift. So she got a sweater quantity. She's gonna make a really pretty colorwork sweater, I think. So you'll have to check out her podcast when she casts hers on and see her progress. I am not quite sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. I was toying with the idea of the Dreama sweater, I believe is what it's called, which is a really pretty colorwork sweater. I would do the black as the main color and then the light gray as the colorwork. However, I really just am not wanting to knit colorwork right now. And I think going back to the last conversation with that Patons wool, I really want to add staple pieces to my wardrobe that I can wear around the kids. That's just what I want to do. I want to experiment with it. So I'm considering that. The Turtle Dove number 2, I believe, was designed with this yarn, and I've always loved that sweater. I don't really have any turtlenecks in my wardrobe, and I'm curious if I would like to wear them or if I would find them too hot. So that's kind of what I'm considering doing, is casting on the Turtle Dove with the black colorway that I have. This is colorway number, let me check, number 6. So it's kind of this heathered gray black, and the drops air is 65% alpaca, 28% polyamide, and 7% wool. And it is so soft. I knew it was soft because I've heard other people talk about it. I did not know it was this soft. So I'm really excited to play around with it. I don't have any alpaca. I don't know if I've even ever knit with alpaca. So I do know that it stretches out over time. But I feel like if I'm gonna knit a turtleneck, this could be a really good one to do because there is 0 itch factor at all. So that is coming down the pipeline. I am thinking Turtle Dove. So the last purchase that I made this past month was also influenced by a loop through a loop. I mentioned in one of my vlogmases that I have not knit a baby blanket for my daughter. I actually have 2 baby blankets that one my friend Laura made for her, and then my grandma also crocheted her one. So if I can remember, I'll show you guys in the next episode of those 2. They're so beautiful and so special. But I haven't knit her one, and I knit one for both of my boys, so I feel like I kind of have to, you know, and I want to, I really want to. So I saw that a loop through a loop, she did a baby blanket in this gradient, and I have a second set as well. So what she did, she went from one corner of the baby blanket and made it bigger and bigger and bigger, following these colors. And then once she got halfway, she used her other gradient and went back the other way. I'll put a picture of her project here because when I saw it, I was like, oh, that is so pretty. And this is totally my like baby girl color scheme. I love the blues and the gold and the pinks, and yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I would really like to knit Harper that. So I'm thinking I would love to get it done by her 2nd birthday, which isn't till August, so I should be able to, but I feel like my mind is just running with all of my dream knitting future plans. So I would love to do this year though. So this is Yarn Bee Pigment and Fiber Goodness Grapefruit colorway, and I don't know if you can see the price up here, but this was $7.99, and I know I used a coupon with it. So for the baby blanket total, it's less than $16. It is, let me see. Oh, it is 60% acrylic, 20% wool, and 20% nylon. So great baby blanket option so that she can dirty it up, do whatever she wants to do with it, and I can wash it for her. So that is another plan I have for this year. So So I have 2 more stash acquisitions. I know it's a lot, but these were actually gifts, and yeah, I can't wait to show you. We went to Missouri this year, which is where I grew up, for Christmas, and my mom was so sweet, and she bought me a really pretty kit for my birthday. So they got a yarn store this last year in the town that she lives in, and I guess she went in and she was asking the owner what she should get me for Christmas, and she mentioned that they have kits, and so this is what I got for my birthday, which was so sweet of her. So this is a really beautiful skein of yarn from New Garden Yarns. It's her perennial yarn base, and my mom lives in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, and this was hand dyed by a woman that lives here, and she lives on a farm with her flock of sheep. This is the colorway Driftwood. It's a bulky 3-ply. It's 100% superwash merino, 100 grams, and 106 yards. And then in the kit came a pattern to knit this hat with the skein of yarn that she got me. This is the Hygge hat designed by Melissa Jones, which is the dyer behind this yarn. I thought that was so thoughtful, so I can't wait to use this. And it's a beautiful neutral with flecks all throughout. It just is so me. It's perfect. And I was pretty blown away whenever I opened this, just because, you know, as non-knitters, I'm sure it's really hard to try to figure out what to buy a person that knits, and I just feel like she you know, knocked it out of the park. Is that the phrase? Also in the kit, it came with a really fun pom-pom, which was so cool, and a stitch marker, which I actually already put on my blanket. So that was such a lovely gift, and it was a huge surprise for me. And I'll probably use this fun bag as a project bag. I think it's so thoughtful. I was just so shocked. So that was my gift stash acquisition number 1. So gift stash acquisition number 2 was from my friend Laura. I mentioned earlier that we swapped Christmas gifts, and so she sent me a box with a whole bunch of goodies, and I was blown away by her gift. She got me 4 skeins of 2-ply sport DK Jacob wool, and this is 100% Jacob wool grown in Solano County, California. And I think it is so beautiful. It's all in the natural shades of the sheep. I have never knit with Jacob wool before, but I have always been really intrigued by it, and I can't wait to experiment with this and see, you know, how the fiber works up and what that experience is. So my plan for this, I think I want to knit the Shift Cowl by ANDREA MOWRY. I've had that pattern purchased for a really long time in my library, and I've never made it. But I saw Amber from A Lovely Yarn podcast. She knit a Shift Cowl as a sample quite a while ago using natural shades of sheep like this, and I loved it. And I am so glad I didn't buy the yarn for it, because when I saw this in my gift package, I was like, oh, I think that's it. So I'll probably have quite a bit left over that I can have fun playing with in a different project, but I think that's what I want to make with this yarn. So I am so excited, and the colors are perfect. I really like just natural wool. I think I've definitely talked about it in past podcasts, but for me, non-superwash natural wool, it really just adds to the experience of knitting. I love the texture of it. I love picking out the bits of straw that the sheep were in, and smelling the wool. So I think that this is going to be a perfect future project. And going back to talking about that cozy space my husband and I are making in our room, I had told Laura about that a while ago, and she made me these absolutely beautiful coasters to go on our coffee table in our master bedroom. I will have to get the pattern name that she used for these, but they're all fun, different colors and designs, and I know she used all scrap yarn, which I'm always so impressed by. Laura is one of those really great people that use up everything that she has, that I always aspire to do, and I feel like she's really good at that. This is a fun project to be able to do that. And she also made me this cute little coaster like caddy thing that you put the coasters inside. So I was just so blown away by this gift. I mean, this probably took a lot of time, I can't even imagine, and it's totally my colors, so I can't wait to finish off that space and add these to our coffee table. So I think that's all of my finished objects and whips and stash acquisitions for this month. I can hear my boys playing downstairs. Sorry if you can hear that or if it's distracting. But my daughter is still napping and my husband's downstairs with the boys, so I figured I would take a few minutes to sit here and knit on my blanket and chat with you while I have the extra time. So like I mentioned earlier, today is January 2nd, 2022. So just the second day of the year. Yeah, I really enjoy this time of the year. My husband loves the 1st of January because it's one of the quietest days in Houston. You know, you can walk outside your door and you don't hear all the traffic noises, which is always so interesting. People are at home resting. So yeah, we've just enjoyed a slower winter break, rearranging the house and just, you know, changing our mindset for the first of the year. Yeah, it's been really good. I have spent some time reflecting on, you know, things like dream knitting and languishing whips. If y'all would like to see my languishing whips, let me know in the comments below. I would be embarrassed to show you the amount of works in progress that I have in my closet that I've just kind of sat on the back burner. A lot of them are almost done, and yet they're not, or some of them I've already decided need to be ripped out, but they haven't been. So yeah, if there's enough interest, I would show y'all. I would allow myself to be vulnerable and show you my embarrassing skeletons in the closet. I would love to know, are you guys like a one project at a time person? You don't move on to the next project until this one's done? Are you like me and you have castanitis like every once in a while and then you're kind of stuck with a few too many? Or what is your, you know, your method to the madness? I have a lot of works in progress that I really just want to finish up. I want to get them off the needles and wearable. But I think I lack a plan. I think that's my problem. That's what I was thinking about today. Somehow I need to make a plan and stick to it. But I haven't done that yet. And, you know, surrounded by yarn right now, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to make that. I can't wait to make that. I can't wait to make that. So, yeah, if y'all have a good way to stay on track or any tips on that, I would love to know. But yeah, I have a lot of dream knitting this year. you know, just everything I've shown you already. That reluctant homeschooler cardigan. I really want to knit a lot for the kids. I also really want to knit a lot for our house. I feel like my kids are at these magic ages where, you know, you just look back on your childhood at this age and you remember all the nostalgic things, and I feel like we're there with them, and I kind of want to capitalize on that and make it as special as possible right now. So I keep thinking about you know, just like the Santa Claus laundry line that I showed y'all last time. I really want to complete that and add it to our seasonal decor, because I feel like these ages, it's just so much more special at this age to do that. So yeah, that's a big focus of mine this year, to add the handmade touches throughout our home. And they're so cute and they're fun to work on, and they're fast if you really commit the time to it. So that's kind of what I've been dreaming about. Knitting for the kids, knitting for the home, experimenting with budget-friendly yarn to see if I wear it more. So yeah, I need to get this blanket off the needles and onto my cozy new chair and just get something else done. But yeah, I really appreciate y'all joining me today to take some time to talk about knitting and crafting. Yeah, I enjoy having these moments to reflect and to talk about a craft that I really enjoy, but I don't really have anyone in my daily, you know, person-to-person life that I can, you know, just sit and knit and share these moments with. So I'm gonna sit here for a few more minutes before the kiddos need me, and yeah, enjoy this beautiful blanket. Thank you so much for joining me today, and to spend some of your time with me to talk about this craft that I love so much. I really hope to see you soon, and yeah, leave a comment below. I would love to keep this conversation going. It's, you know, I do this so that it's not so one-sided, but to make friendships, and yeah, I would love to engage in that. Let me know if you guys want to see my languishing whips, if I should open up and show you that, or if you have any tips on how to stay focused and get things done. I would love to hear them. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you soon.